Hey everybody, this is Kyle and Will with attackofthefanboy.com, and this is Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. This is the campaign. We are doing separate videos for the campaign and the multiplayer. This is our single-player campaign kind of sort of review. I've written the review, and we're going to be talking about the review, but really this is more of a dialogue, a discussion of the game, because Will is a big Call of Duty fan, and I'm kind of getting back into the series and really getting into Infinite Warfare in a big way. So,
are you?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
I mean, I'm
You're getting back into Call of Duty in a big way.
Well, I played Infinite Warfare for hours, just
and
non-stop.
And now it's just ingrained in your brain.
It's ingrained into me.
I like this.
Yeah, I mean, I won't play the campaign for hours. It's an okay campaign, I think. There's nothing
it's not
particularly.
One of the best.
Yeah, I mean, especially if going outside of the Call of Duty franchise in terms of shooter campaigns, I would mark it pretty low.
Okay.
It's got its moments, and Ethan, which is the robot, and I think the characters in general are good. They do a good job of like introing these characters and making you care about them. Especially Ethan, this robot helper who is compared a lot to TARS from Interstellar, which they said they developed him long before that movie even came out. So they were like, "What happened?"
Of course they did.
So I mean, he's a great character. You really do actually get kind of invested into at least the people, if not the general story, because like this story is it's got issues.
Let's start there. Like, what is the story? This is set in the far future, obviously, right? Okay, we've seen, that was the big stopping point for people was that far future space setting, like Call of Duty in space, right?
Yeah. I mean, people had a visceral reaction to that trailer, and as soon as it showed like spaceships and everything, that's a big part of the game. This game is a sci-fi shooter at this point. It's still kind of grounded. They try to ground it a little bit, but I mean, the overall experience is still a sci-fi shooter. And so the story is humanity kind of, expended the resources of Earth, so they spread out into the solar system, built all of these colonies. The colonies are doing mining and all of that other stuff, sending resources back to Earth. They get angry, and this group forms called the Settlement Defense Force, which is run by Kit Harington of Game of Thrones fame.
Okay, yeah, I remember seeing him in the trailer.
Yep,
okay.
And so they fight back, and I mean the game starts with a minor side mission, and then the big kind of catalyst for the story is that the SDF attacks Earth, takes out almost all of their defenses, and Earth just barely fights them off, and you get put in charge of one of the last two ships in the entire fleet, and then it's your job to go after them and kind of stop them from destroying Earth. And
an against all odds story. Okay.
Yeah.
One man fighting a space battle.
Well, what's weird is like it's not an against all. It becomes an against all odds, but the scrappy underdog should be the SDF. Like they're these tiny colonies that put together this military force. But what's so weird, they're total space Nazis. This is a complete black and white story where Earth is good and the SDF is bad. There's literally like videos that they show where they're just like, we want to kill Earth and you will be our slaves. And it's like, what is happening? Yeah. It's like, where is this coming from? And I don't know. It feels like they're just jumping, feet first into this, and that sort of manifests in other ways because, like, this whole game, start to finish, which I actually had to ask somebody about this to make sure that I wasn't crazy. Start to finish, this game takes place over 24 to 36 hours.
Really?
Yes. And you're going on these like crazy missions back to back, and your ship is so damaged, and every jump it's just like this is right after the main attack on Earth, and you're like, we've got to fight back, and they took over the moon base, we've got to get the moon base. So you do that, and then you take over the moon base, and it's like, okay, well now the whole map is available, and you've got a dozen or so missions, go do them all. And then the final mission, it's like, man, this has been a crazy day. It's like, yeah.
Really? Okay. All right. So wait, this
on,
is this like sandbox or not sandbox, but kind of choose your own path, choose your own way through the mission structure? Okay.
Well, it's
this
that
looks fucking awesome though. Like you're not in control of this, obviously.
No.
This is just one of those bombastic Call of Duty moments. But this looks good. Is this on PC?
This is on PS4. No, it looks really good. You'll catch it every once in a while if you're like really close to an object or something where you're like, that doesn't look great. But I mean, overall, this game looks really, really good. It runs really well. There was no frame rate dips that I noticed. And I mean, that core is still there. I mean, this is still a Call of Duty game.
Yeah, and they make a great spectacle driven campaign.
Yep.
You know, they've never been aside from a couple of the Modern Warfare games, in my opinion, like Black Ops. I mean, I really have liked the campaigns over the years in Call of Duty. I always play through them, but I mean, this one, the setting did put me off as well as like I was with the internet on that kind of, you know.
I was not as negative. I mean, I definitely felt. I see why the Call of Duty fans are kind of rebelling against that because it is so against the grain of what the series is. But getting to play it, I see why they did this because it really does open up it opens up the game so much in terms of the settings and the vistas that you get, which, like you said, Call of Duty is based on spectacle. These big explosions and explosive sequences of action. And this really does open that up where, like, you'll see later, I get to shoot out windows, and we're on the moon, so obviously the vacuum of space is outside, and it just sucks everybody out. So that kind of stuff is just really cool.
No doubt. They always are. They always have a few moments, but it's really about these games is, does it get long in the tooth? Is it paced well? You know, like, that's like the real difference between some of the better Call of Duty games and some of the worst Call of Duty campaigns, you know, whether they can keep that like pace of, wow, this is this cool factor going for whatever the 6 hours that these things last.
Yeah, and I think it actually helps that they let you choose your missions.
That is cool.
There's a main thread. There's a main thread of missions, and you always know when you're kind of progressing that. But as soon as you finish the first couple of missions, it really just opens up and says, here's a bunch of missions. If you want to take them, go ahead. If not, don't. And I wanted to get through the main storyline, so I just kind of hit those one after the other, and then I went back and did those. So that worked for me, and it kept the pace going for me. But someone who may want to slow things down, those side missions are great. They were actually the better missions, if you ask me. There were a couple of them where they were completely stealth based, where it was like, you know, you've got to rescue hostages, and if they find you out, they'll kill at least a few of the hostages, and you need to try to get all of them. So there was some good stuff in those side missions. And
are there rewards for doing those, or
you get
upgrades?
You get upgrades for your character and your Jackal, which is the kind of Battlestar Viper kind of ship that you fly. Usually every mission has a Jackal section. I think this one has it at the end. I think the majority had it at the beginning, where you'd kind of fly out of your ship, fight some of their ships, and then board the ship. I didn't keep a tally, though, but almost everything has a Jackal section. And then there's some of those side missions that are only Jackal. So if you don't like them, which I wasn't a huge fan of the Jackal, it was good. The ship was very well designed. It controlled extremely well. It just kind of didn't grab me. It wasn't what I was having the most fun with, so I just kind of left those. I went back and checked them out later, but it didn't get in the way of the game, so that pacing worked well.
So with that Jackal, is that thing like fully mobile, go wherever you want, or is it semi-on rails, or how does that work?
No, it opens up, and you're in a specific section, usually around a bigger ship. But yeah, once it lets you go,
you're like dogfighting with other spaceships and stuff, right? And they showed off a few different mechanics that we haven't seen before in this game. I know at E3, where you're like in zero gravity, out in space, and like grappling around and doing. I mean, is there a lot of that?
Not a ton. Some of the side missions have that more than the main missions. That was definitely a cool part of the game. It was a cool spectacle moment where you are it's totally zero G. You can use this grappling hook to grab onto cover or grab onto enemies, and then you do these really cool things where like you'll kick in their face screen so they suffocate in space, or you pull their grenades and you kind of kick away from them and they blow up. It feeds into that. The gameplay of that wasn't maybe as solid as I wanted. It was very tough to control. It took a lot of getting used to. Once you did get used to it, it worked well. It's just, I don't know. It wasn't something that I was like seeking out. It wasn't like, oh yeah, this is a zero G section. It was cool for mixing things up though.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing that they run into, as we said before. Like they have to find those moments to kind of spice things up, so that the campaign doesn't get dull. There's only so many times that you can kind of go through a linear. This is a linear campaign. The main path is, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no like branching elements other than the side missions.
No, that's it.
Well, this is a three-pronged attack for Call of Duty. It always is. Well, I mean, I guess it hasn't always been for Infinity Ward, but this is a multiplayer, zombies, and campaign. Where did you rank this in that package?
This was probably my least favorite part. I see myself
Really?
playing a lot of multiplayer, especially a lot of zombies. I really liked zombies. And yeah, I mean, I definitely suggest people play through the campaign, but if you're not a big fan of campaigns in general or Call of Duty campaigns specifically, I could see somebody just kind of maybe playing a couple missions and not coming back to this. It wasn't bad. Like, I didn't have a bad time. I want to make sure that that's clear. It's just I didn't have a great time. It wasn't like, oh man, I really want to get to that next mission. I want to do this. I want to do that. It was just kind of like, well, it's here. It's the campaign. It's telling an okay story. The characters are kind of interesting, especially Ethan. He's actually a really good character. So I was attached in some ways, but overall, I could definitely see people not liking it all that much.
Well, that's usually the selling point. Usually people spend way more time in multiplayer and zombies than they do in the campaign anyway, right? I mean, at least that's my habit with these games. I play through them, I enjoy them. I do like, because they're short. Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming this is about a 6-hour campaign, right? I mean,
Yep.
it's pretty par for the course.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of big moments, 6 hours, and you're done.
With the side missions, it can probably balloon up to like 8 to maybe 10.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't
That's
keep
a fairly long campaign.
Yeah, I didn't keep a timer, so I'm not exactly sure. But I do remember, like, I got through the main missions in about 5 hours. So I would assume that those side missions were a couple more.
Did they talk about any PS4 Pro stuff with this game?
We got to see it on PS4 Pro. We got to play it on PS4 Pro. Not the whole time. That's not what this is recorded off of. But we had kind of a side room where they had PS4 Pros hooked up. We got to see it, and it looked good. Everyone.
I guess we should probably say that Activision brought us out to see this game. So just for full transparency, you were in Los Angeles,
San Francisco. Yep.
To see this game, and so you got a first look at the PS4 Pro. What, if any, differences were there? I mean, the campaign would have the biggest differences, right?
Yeah, and that's what what everyone was playing, and I mean, everyone was kind of looking at it and trying to notice little things, and you definitely could pick up, like in this room, you would probably have more smoke effects.
Okay.
Everything just kind of looked maybe a little bit crisper. We didn't have one right next to it, so we couldn't.
Were you on 4K monitors?
Yes.
Okay.
We couldn't just sit there and go like, yeah, that's different right there. But everyone was staring at it just like, oh, that looks better. And someone else would be like, I don't think it is. So
Right.
it's one of
It's
those
one
where
of
I
those
think,
things.
yeah, if you have a PS4, the upgrade may be pretty small, but there is an upgrade. It was definitely noticeable.
Is it worth buying a new console though?
Hey,
That's
yeah,
gonna
I
be
mean, I
so-
definitely don't have enough time to say yay or nay on that, but
Right,
just
right, right.
yeah, if that says anything, it was literally a couple of game reviewers and game press sitting there and trying to spot differences. Like, oh, that looks better. Oh, that looks better.
It's probably tough to. You're not looking at these things side by side, are you?
No.
Or
Yeah, no, it was a
you're,
separate
You're like
room.
looking at one and then going, let me see if I can see anything else over here. That's always tough to do.
Yeah, yeah, and we couldn't really,
So-
there's no real 4K capture equipment right now, so I wish that we could have gotten some video and maybe do more of a head-to-head comparison. But I mean, just eyeballing it, it looked better, but not like glaringly better, which I think is what they're saying. They've been saying that.
Right. Well, it looks like a Call of Duty campaign.
Yes.
I mean, it really does. Press square to live.
Yep, it's.
Is this where you're going out into the zero gravity area? Or is this
yeah.
just kind of the end of a mission?
It's been a while since I played this one, but I think this may be just low G. We're on the moon, so six
It looks
six
like
gravity,
the terminal map from multiplayer.
which you get if you get the pre-order Legacy Edition. It's one of their
Really?
pre-order bonuses.
That's the
yeah.
bonus.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people have had waning interest, at least in my circle of friends, for Call of Duty this year. I don't know whether it's fatigue. I don't know what it is, but they weren't as impressed with this game
I think that
for
they
whatever
misread.
reason.
Yeah, they seem to have just went the wrong way this year, and that's not saying that the game is of lower quality. What I think it is the community was not wanting a sci-fi shooter. They were not wanting to go to the future. In fact, they were wanting to do the opposite. People were asking for a World War II shooter. Battlefield 1 showed up with a World War I shooter, and everyone crapped their pants in excitement.
That game sucks.
You're one of the few people that
Battlefield
thinks
1
that.
stinks.
You may be alone on an island with that.
I do not give a shit, man. Battlefield 1 is horrible. Maybe we'll
I can't
save that
say.
for the podcast. It is not a good game.
I can't
It
say.
is the worst.
I've only played demos.
It's Battlefront 1. It sucks.
I don't know. Either way, that's still.
I've been trying to play more of it and like it. Don't care. The campaign is good, but the multiplayer, fuck, you can take that shit and shove it up your fucking ass.
That still supports what I'm saying here, though, because everyone is super excited about that and praising it to no end. And maybe that's just because people wanted something different. We've had sci-fi shooters. We've had a ton of Modern Warfare shooters. And it feels like this was just not the year to deliver what they did. Whether it's not saying that this is a bad game or that it was a bad choice. It's just that's where I think this community backlash is coming from.
Yeah. What'd you think about all the weapons and like the different stuff that you gain in the campaign as far as like power-ups and don't you build out a rig, you said?
Yeah, you get some power-ups and stuff. I mean, I didn't really get too deep into it just because it wasn't... and yeah, that class, I didn't notice that was there.
Like, grenade! Is that your doing?
This was literally like... this is me recording straight from the beginning, so this was not... I had not spent a lot of time in the game, so that's why I make a lot of mistakes.
It's still a cool shot grenade.
Yeah, that grenade is cool. I mean, the weapons... Some were hits. In general, they had a very generic feel, and I don't really know why. I can't verbalize exactly why these things... I think that they were very... Like, if you look at this gun, to me, it feels over-designed. It's just, like, cluttered with stuff. And it feels like all of the guns are like that, and so I can't... In my head, I could not draw a gun and say, that's this gun, or even see a picture of a gun and say, that's this gun, and that does this. It felt like they in general
Like,
did a
I'll
lot of
pick
the
this
same
one
things.
up and see what happens.
Yeah, no, it felt like they
Gotcha.
in general did a lot of the same things. There was the only big difference was whether they were straight bullets or more electrical, because there are
Yeah,
robot
energy
enemies.
weapons or whatever.
Energy
yeah.
weapons, yeah. So I mean that was really the only major difference that I would notice. So some of the heavy weapons were nice. It was okay. It's a mixed bag. A lot of the gadgets
So,
are pretty cool, like the
a
shield,
lot of the what? The gadgets?
gadgets and grenades and stuff. You get a seeker grenade that you can toss out, and it'll hunt down an enemy and stuff like that. So that's all cool.
Cool. So, well, this will be part of our Call of Duty review. You've got Kyle's impressions on this game and my impressions on Battlefield 1. So
Yep.
we are gonna move along to multiplayer, right?
Yeah. I think the campaign is not the best, but it is still Call of Duty. If you were worried that the shift to the future would completely change the game, it doesn't. It's still Call of Duty. You're going to have a good time. If you enjoyed any Call of Duty campaign before, you'll probably still have a good time with this one. And it's got some nice little additions here and there that will probably mix things up for you. That was Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, the single-player campaign. For our multiplayer video, I'll either put a link somewhere on the video or down in the description. So check those out, and check out the full review at attackofthefanboy.com. And, of course, you're watching us on youtube.com/fanboyattack. Please, if you enjoyed the video, give us a like. Maybe subscribe to us. We'll be putting out a lot more videos. Some Call of Duty, some other things. So thank you for joining us.